Want to get cheat sheets, audiobooks, lessons, apps, and much more every month for free? Just click the link in the description to get your free language gifts of the month.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alisha, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Okay, let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Harry. Hi Harry. Harry says, how do you pronounce words with two R sounds in American English, like earlier or further? I think I sound so weird when I pronounce this sound. Yeah, unlike in British English, which has a very soft kind of ah sound in words like these, in American English, we pronounce the R sounds very distinctly. So earlier, earlier, as in I met him earlier, or further, further, as in we walked down the road further, or we walked further down the road. So this is maybe a pronunciation point difference between British English and American English. I hope that that helps answer your question of how to pronounce these sounds in both British and American English. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Fatima. Hi, Fatima. Fatima says, I've paraphrased your question. It's full of information. How do I talk about the future of the future? For example, a friend invited me to participate in a course, but I want to decline because I know I'm not going to use the things the course will teach me. How do I express this? Should I say, I won't join in because I won't use what I'll learn? I won't try what I'll have learned? I won't try what I learn? Thank you. Good question. And depending on the person, the response might be a little bit different. There are a few different ways that someone might respond to this situation. I would probably say, thanks, but I'm not going to join you because I know I'm probably not going to use the stuff the course teaches. So in my answer, I would say probably not gonna, meaning there's a high chance that this thing is not going to happen. And I would probably phrase it like, as I said in my example sentence, I'm probably not going to use the stuff the course teaches. So I would probably use present tense there because the course itself doesn't change, right? Like the topics of the course, like the lessons in the course, that doesn't change. That's always true. So I might use present tense there. And then I would say with simple future tense plus probably, I'm probably not gonna because that shows a high level of certainty. I think in my case, I probably wouldn't use will or won't in this case because going to sounds like you've thought about it a little bit more prior to the conversation. But again, this is just how I might answer the question. Somebody else might choose a different response. Somebody else might say like, thanks for the invitation, but I think I'll probably pass this time. You know, they could just say something like that. Another way you might answer this is, I'm not going to come because I probably won't use the things the course is going to teach us. So again, we're using a mixture of that will and won't in the negative form and going to. So this is really kind of up to the speaker. I would say from the options that you provided, I would not use will have learned in that case. I would probably just use a simple present tense and a simple future tense. I would put those two together and then we would understand the situation based on the context. So if you're talking with the person who invited you, for example, we can generally understand from context what the future and the future parts are. So that's fine. This is also actually a situation where if things are unclear at all, it's very natural to ask for confirmation, to ask for clarification. So if you're explaining the situation to someone outside the situation and they don't understand what you mean, you can clarify. You can make it like a little bit more specific. Like, I think I'm not going to use the things the course is going to teach, so I'm not going to go. You know, you can break it all down if you really, really need to. In sum, to break it down, I would probably use simple future tense, a negative form, like probably not going to, and I would probably use just a simple present tense verb to refer to the things the course teaches, because that doesn't change. But again, depending on the person, there might be a slightly different answer. I would suggest you just don't use will have learned. So I would not suggest using that future perfect tense there. So I hope that this helps you. Thanks for an interesting question. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Kiran. Hi, Kiran. Kiran says, hi, Alisha. I noticed sometimes we use little to give the meaning of nothing. In what situations do we use it? Okay, yeah, I've talked about this here and there in live streams and in like the Q&A from time to time, but let's review. So we can use little before an uncountable noun to give a negative feeling sometimes. So let's take a look at two sentences to compare. First, we have a little time to finish this project. And second, we have little time to finish this project. So the difference between these two sentences is that the first sentence includes the article a before little. So we have a little time to finish this project. This sounds like a simple report of information. It's neutral, like a fact. In the second sentence, however, there is no article. There's no a before little. We have little time to finish this project. This sentence sounds negative. It sounds like this is not a good thing. So I think that this is what you're referring to when you say little being used to mean nothing. So this is the case in situations like this where the noun that follows little is kind of positive or something that is desirable. This is not a rule, however. Please note that if your noun that follows little is something that's not desirable, that is negative, then it can actually have the opposite meaning. So let's take a look at an example here. The city has a little pollution, and the city has little pollution. In this example sentence, we have the same little versus a little difference, but the noun that follows it is pollution. So pollution, we understand, is bad or negative or not desirable. So when we say the city has a little pollution, it again sounds like just a simple report, simple fact. But when we say the city has little pollution, it sounds like a good thing, actually. So keep in mind that the noun that follows little does affect the meaning of the sentence. If it's something that's undesirable, like pollution, then it sounds like it's a good situation. If the noun that follows little is something that we actually do want, like time in my first set of example sentences, then it creates a negative feeling. So this is how we can use little to mean very nearly nothing or to create that negative feeling. I hope that this answers your question. Thanks very much. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Miriam Atef. Hello, Miriam. Miriam says, hey, Alisha, I don't know whether to use anyway or anyways. I would use anyway without the S, but you hear anyways all the time in speech. I would suggest in writing you use anyway with no S. Just be consistent. That's my personal preference, I suppose. Anyways is also used, yes, but in Merriam-Webster it is listed as the informal or casual version of anyway. Merriam-Webster is an American English dictionary for reference. So whatever you choose, just be consistent. In your writing, again, I suggest anyway. It's just one letter that you don't have to include, so it seems a little more efficient to me. In speech, don't worry about it. Whatever you prefer is fine. So I hope that this answers your question. Thanks very much. Okay, on to our next question. Next question comes from Leuben. Hello, Leuben. Hi. Leuben says, you like Star Wars, don't you? Could you tell me how we can use the Force to increase our memory when we study English? Okay, well, what do you think is the best way to improve your memory? I think that the answer is quite obvious. You just need to practice, yes? Okay, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your questions. And remember, you can send them to me at EnglishClass101.com/ask-Alisha. Of course, if you like this lesson, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alisha, and I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.